Good afternoon, evening, morning. We're going to be looking today at landed cost. First thing we're going to want to do is open up our QuickBooks Enterprise software. Specifically, we're going to be looking at landed cost in QuickBooks Enterprise. If you are not aware what landed costs are essentially where we take the price of our product that we pay for our product to acquire it, pay for our materials. It's the extra cost associated with it. So that's going to be your freight, taxes, import fees, duties, basically anything that involves getting that product to your door, to your dock in a usable state. This can also include things like storage fees or anything like that. So all those extra costs associated with it, right? So especially this day and age with freight and tariffs, those can be something that can really add up a lot of extra costs there. So it's a really good thing to record. So inside of QuickBooks Enterprise, first thing we're going to want to do is we need to turn on our landed cost module. So we're going to go into preferences, and now in order to use this landed cost module, you will need to have the advanced inventory module as well. So we're going to go down here, our to our items inventory section, and then over here to company preferences. Now, when you are setting this up, and see, I'm not, so let me change that. When we're setting this up, we're going to want to set it up using single user mode. So you'll need to make sure everybody's out of your system. It should only take about 5-10 minutes max to set up. As you'll see, the hardest decision we have to make is just what account we want to use as our landed cost clearing account. And we'll look at that here in a second. Okay, now that we have corrected ourselves and we are in single user mode, we're going to let our QuickBooks load. All right, now we're going to go back into our preferences. We're going to go to our items inventory again, and company preferences. And again, so I already mentioned that you want to be a single user. You're also going to want to be logged in as the admin role to make these changes. That should be, if you're making any changes in the settings that are company wide, generally it's a good idea to be logged in under that admin role to do those. Right. So after we get here, we're going to go to advanced inventory settings. This screen will pop up. We're going to come over here to landed cost. You'll notice in this one, it's already turned on. But what we do now, what we can do is we can manage this landed cost account. And this will let us pick our account. So you can see here, we can create a new account. We can use an existing one. The existing account will need to be another current asset. This is really just a holding account, right? Like we said, holding account for our landed cost account. As you'll see, once we go and do a transaction, it does an in, then an out from this account to go into the correct area, to actually go to the correct parts. We're going to cancel that because we already set up. So we have our account name, landed cost, account type, other current asset. Okay, there. Okay, here. We've got that set up. Now, the next thing we need to do is we need to set up our landed cost items. So these are going to be like your freight, again, your freights, taxes, duties, warehousing, insurance. These things are going to be unique to your business. Generally, the most common one is going to be freight. That's probably the biggest expense, but you may have others. And how you break it down is entirely up to you. The fact that you are wanting to record them is already going to give you a leg up on your competition. Okay, so now we're going to go here to list, and then item list here. And then what I always like to do with these is because we have our landed cost account, we're going to search here. We're going to pull up and create a new item. We can say it's a service, and we're going to call it inbound freight. All right. And we can fill unit measure, barcode, anything else right here. You can say if it's using assemblies or anything like that. This wouldn't be, so we're going to put here description inbound freight. All right. And now this is how we get to tie back to our landed cost here. So in here, we're going to put landed cost as our account, right? Account landed cost. All right. Now, okay, so now this file just has some custom fields that are required in here. So we're going to just go ahead and say, just put in some placeholder information here, and your years will not need to have this information, but yeah, this information again, or just out here. Just this is one of the sample files, so we do have some extra information that makes you fill out. Yours may or may not have that information, right? But now we have our inbound freight here as a landed cost. We can look in here too, and we can see. Oh, no, we can't see it. Okay, here you go. Yeah, we can see our inbound freight, landed freight. We can see a couple other things that we've already set up into there as well. Go for that account. So now that's done. We're going to go here and actually make a couple bills. We're going to go and say, we're going to go ahead and receive inventory with a bill. So we're going to follow our process for receiving and setting up inventory. We're setting receiving inventory and then applying landed cost. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go here and receive the bill. This bill here from Anderson Hardware, the tool supply that we have. So yes. All right. So this one right here is what we want to receive. Okay. So all these items right here are what we're going to receive in. Right. We're going to put a reference number here. Total cost there. So on this, we're just going to do this bill normally. Receive their items. Nothing more here. Now where this gets to be where we can have some have landed cost applied here. If there was freight on this bill, we could apply our landed cost. We could use our landed cost freight item that we created to put that freight on here. Now, because we want to show an example, we're gonna go ahead and do that here. So we're gonna go ahead and say landed freight. All right, or just do a quantity of 1, cost of 100. Right. And now first to actually do our user landed cost, we have to save it. And we're going to hit this calculate landed cost button. You right at the top there, and it'll pull up this. Now, what we need to do, we need to go here and add bills. Now, your bills should show up there, but again, because this is a sample file, the dates are a little bit wacky. So we have to go in here and actually do a custom date range for this to get it to the correct time frame. All right. Here we go. And now you'll see here we have a couple other bills that we landed cost bills that we created previously, and we have our bill here. So we're working with Anderson's hardware tool supply 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is our bill number. This is that here. So we're going to take that, say add bill, and then up here we can say the amount we want to allocate. This usually and this works out better whenever if you have like a freight bill that's applying to multiple different invoices, multiple different customers, multiple different vendor orders. You can say which part of it needs to be allocated to this, and then it'll stay on that list as a partially allocated bill until it's used up completely. So for this one, we know that because the freight's already on here, this is the entire freight for the order. So we can say, yes, we want to take that 100. right? And then now we come down here, we can split our 100 by multiple different ways. So quantity is going to take and split it by use the quantity of the of each item and add them up and do an average based on that. So this would take, because we have 242, the total quantity of all the items combined is 242 for this order. It would take that divided by the 100 and then get a number that would be added into each. The um, quantity does not factor in anything with cost, anything with um, anything with weight, size, anything like that. So quantity is really only one that I like to use if we're ordering the same product, just different variations of it. So let's say we're buying paint and we've got black paint, blue paint, white paint, green paint, all the same cost for us, all the same amount cost to ship everything. We just need to divide it up between the colors. Right? Percentage. The percentage. Look, this is where we can say how much percent of each line gets the breakdown. So we can adjust these. The only thing is our total must be 100%. So this one, right, we need to say 21. So those would break down there. And just say quantity, and quantity would break down like that. All right. Other one that we can do is amount. So this will take your cost and then allocate the landed cost based on your cost there. All right. And the last one is a manual one. So this right here is where we can just manually input the numbers. My two preferred methods are going to be percentage and amount, because I think those give you the best breakdown of everything. And this one we're going to say amount here. All right. Now we're going to post this to the bill. And now this is what this is going to do is this going to tell us that we have added in some of the cost here. We have updated selling costs for these products. This is a decision you can make. If you want to update your selling costs right here for everything, you can. If not, you can just skip it. For right now, we're just going to skip this part. All right. So now you'll notice on here that we have our bill still looks the same, right? We still have everything there, but now our costs are updated to include the landed costs. We still have our landed freight line on here because remember, we still need to pay that amount. But what we'll notice now is that over here on this side, we have a entry to a landed cost to an expense entry to landed cost. So what this does is this removes that cost that the extra $1,000 that we have now because we allocated that. So this was removing the extra amount to allocate that landed cost across these numbers, across these items. So our total still remains the 1,046, but we have all of our costs actually on these items, and we still have our freight line to pay here. So that's going to be landed cost from with it on the same bill. Now, another way we're going to look at this, we're going to save and do a new one here. Let's see, do a new one here. Okay, so we're going to do another one here. We're going to use Anderson's again. All right, and we're going to go here and do this one. Let me do a different PO here. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and do this one, and then we're going to add in a couple more items here just so we can have some extra things to really look at. All right. Okay, so now if we take a look at each of these costs here, right, we have 35, 10, 75. We're going to remember those numbers. Now we're going to take and now we're going to take and actually apply save this bill, and we're creating it. So But that in that scenario, bill came in, cool, just straight everything. Now we have a separate bill for freight. All right. So we're gonna use Cecil shipped us that product there. All right, so on here now, we have our inbound freight. And on this, you could put description, you can mark however you want it to. Quantity of one and cost 500. Okay. Now that's completed. We're going to save and close that. So we have our freight bill in, we have our regular product bill in. Now we're going to need to come to our vendor list because we need to go back to our Anderson's hardware and tool supply. So we have our bill 125, which is one we just made. Now we've got both bills in. Now we come here and save the calculated cost. All right. Remember again, because this one has some wacky dates, we got to go in and put our dates in. And we're gonna put those dates in there if I can type them out correctly. All right. So that one's fully allocated. We have a unallocated partial here. Actually, let me try something because it's not, because we're having an issue here. And yeah, pull back up Cecil. And so let's bear with me for 1 second here. Okay, we're gonna come back over here, Anderson, and we're gonna calculate landed cost here. We're gonna add our bills in. All right, so now we have all of them here. So we can take multiple. So this one we're gonna say have multiple, right? We're gonna take and add all of them in that aren't allocated already. We're gonna add our bills. These are all the amounts that still need to be allocated. We can say partial, we can say full. For that sentence, we're just gonna say, oh wait, we actually click those extra ones. No, okay. Cecil's still our only one, 500. We're gonna allocate it by, we're gonna do this one by percentage. Breaks it down to percentage there. Perfect. Post it to bill. Get that. All right. So now our new cost on here. If you remember before, we had 35 as the cost, 10, then 75. Now these costs are updated to reflect everything. We have our expense landed cost here. So essentially what landed cost is doing is you're setting your an item up or multiple items up where they are going to a where they're going to a landed cost holding account. Think of it that way, right? So you've got your shipping, your freight, all of those expenses, right? But those are actually costs that need to be allocated to product. So you take that and then you say, okay, right now we have the $500 in that landed cost account. This entry is moving it out. So we're taking and moving it out, putting it on to the product here. So you might think, oh, you might have an idea that landed cost needs to be recorded. You need to have all of your landed costs in like a landed cost expense account, landed cost COGS account, right? Which is which does make sense and can be correct in some instances. But for this, we're using that landed cost as a holding landed cost account as a holding account. It's really just pass through. Nothing should really ever be in there because we're allocating that cost to the actual product. So once it comes on the product, it becomes part of that product cost. It stays there. So just kind of some food for thought. So what we're going to do now, just so we can take a look at everything, so we're going to go to our chart of accounts here, and we're going to pull up this landed cost account and just take a quick look at some of those transactions there and see how they see kind of the ins and outs. of it. So right here, we have our landed cost accounts here. You can see all of our bills here. And actually, let's do one thing here so we can, let's actually go in here and let's go here and just save this guy. That way we can pull up the correct information here. Okay. So if you look, you see ins and outs, right? So we can take, and if we see this 200, the 200 and $200 there, those are two ones. Remember, we had two that we hadn't allocated yet. So those are still showing up in there as a balance. We have our $50 that we took out. So, hey, yeah, that one's partially allocated, right? That is correct. That's what we saw earlier. Then we have our ins and outs from the ones we just did today. So this landed cost account, really remember, just a pass-through holding account. This account is a great idea. It's a really good idea to reconcile this at the end of each month to see what's there. This way, it'll tell you if there's any freight bills or anything else that hasn't been allocated yet. It'll tell you where you still need to allocate things. This is a really, really useful tool. Can really help with your cost analysis, as you saw on this last one here, right? We've jumped up each one of these parts by almost $3-4. So that can be a significant jump, especially whenever you're ordering, 75 pieces of product. It's a lot there. So in summary, landed cost, great tool to use. Remember, your landed cost account is a pass-through account. You can calculate a cost, very simple. You can also remove landed costs if that's something you ever need to do. But you have your ways of allocating quantity, amount, cost, and percentage. Really great tool to use. It's a really, really great feature of QuickBooks Enterprise. Makes the process that was mainly done in Excel for years something that is easily done within the system. Really think it's great. And if there's any more questions, please feel free to reach out and let us know. Thank you.